I could hear spirits talking to me. It was like my voice, but not my thought. And so I knew something was going on, but I was afraid to tell people about it because I thought maybe they would think I was crazy. So I just decided to keep it my secret. We all have our five physical senses, but then we also have our sixth sense, which is our intuition, which is actually your psychic sense. Once you open that up and allow yourself to open it, you might find out you have a passion for something that you never even knew because you never gave yourself the chance to actually explore it. But if you go down your intuitive route, try it out, and then it could totally change your life.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Vibrant Soul Society, The Conversations. Our mission for the show is to simply help you discover that you are greater than your thoughts, and beyond your thoughts is this bright, vibrant soul. So today we are very blessed and privileged to have Brandy with us on the show. So Brandy, welcome to the conversation.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So people that are unfamiliar with you, who is Brandy?
So now I am a psychic medium mentor. So I help people to develop their psychic abilities because I know when I was young and I knew something was going on, but I wasn't sure what. Once I found a mentor to help me, it really helped me not only with psychic development, but with personal development. It was like a whole self growth journey, learning who I was, learning my inner guidance. So now I want to share that with others who might be struggling to find their way on how to do that.
Okay, so how'd you get into this? Because you obviously had your human experience, now you're the psychic medium. So what was this human experience that led you onto this thing that you said something is going on?
Yes. So even when I was like 10 or 12, I could hear spirits talking to me. It was like my voice, but not my thought. And so I knew something was going on, but I was afraid to tell people about it because I thought maybe they would think I was crazy. So I just decided to keep it my secret. But then when I was in my 20s, I had a profound spiritual experience that changed everything. So my grandma was actually in hospice. My family and I were all standing around her bed, holding hands as she took her last breath. And as she did, I literally felt her spirit rise above the bed. And when I looked above the bed with my naked eye, as though it was right there in front of me, I saw the most magnificent colors. I don't even think they're in this world. And it was forming a star and beating in and out like a heartbeat. And in that moment, I just knew that death wasn't final, that she was at peace, that I'd be talking to her again, and that she was going on to another journey in her life. And so that changed everything for me. I was like not afraid anymore. I was like, this is actually like beautiful and amazing. And so I started to see how I could develop my ability on my own. So for years, I was like, reading books and watching shows and taking classes and nothing was working. So I was like, maybe it was just a one-time thing. Maybe I'm not meant to do anything with these messages that I'm hearing. But then I did look for a mentor. And once I found her, I only worked with her maybe an hour a month for 6 months. And then my abilities just skyrocketed. And I was able to control my abilities, develop them, call spirits on demand, tell them to go away when I wanted them to. I could do readings. It was just amazing when you can find someone who's already been on the path before you to take you under their wing and help you. So now that's what I want to do for other people.
Great. So it sounds like you were a little confused when you're a younger girl and like, okay, I'm hearing voices. I don't really know what the make of this. Then your 20s, the passing of your grandmother, and then you had this really profound, deep experience that probably a lot of people do not witness or experience. And
Yeah.
that really just created a shift, a curiosity, like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
So then you just start to read books and watch some videos. Were you doing like
Yeah.
the meditate? What was that part of your journey?
So when I was taking classes before the mentor, I was learning about the clairsensitives and the chakras. But it was like all of these classes were like little pieces of the puzzle. But then I felt like I didn't have all of the puzzle pieces. But once I met with my mentor, she took me through shadow work because that's something that really needs to get done to help heal you so that you can grow. and not have that bring you down the rest of your life. So, of course, that's a lifelong process, but that's actually where she said had me start and where I have my students start is with the shadow work to be able to do those exercises on relieving some of that trauma. But a lot of the exercises are actually like you meditate, but only for maybe a minute or two. And then you actually do visualizations where you're working out the psychic muscle in your brain, the pineal gland, and you're actually like looking at something like you're imagining. And so a lot of my students will be like, aren't I just using my imagination? And but that's exactly what it is. Imagination is more than just visualizing. It's also maybe feeling something or sensing it or just knowing that it's there. So if you're using any of those senses to do whatever the exercise is telling you to
Right.
do. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just curious, just want to dive back a little bit. So you're just meditating for a minute or two. Was there ever a quest or a search to seek out, like, who am I? That I saw my grandmother transform into this energy. So who am I? Did you explore that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever you can channel spirits, my mentor was able to do that for me. And she said that my grandma actually wanted me to see that. And so that's why I had the ability to be able to see it. And I'm so glad she did because it literally changed my life like in those few seconds. So, yeah, the entire spirituality and psychic ability journey is not just about talking to dead people or talking to spirits. You really are going on this journey of self growth, of finding out who you are deep down, not how society wants you to be, but how you want to have your life turn out, about living authentically. And that's really what makes your life flow easier. It gets you to be more positive and see things in a different way, things through abundance. And instead of, why is this happening to me? You start looking at things of like, what is this teaching me? So it really is just this self discovery journey.
Right. It's really that self-discovery. Like, I think it begins, I don't think we can really develop our abilities if we're not really certain of our own true nature. Then you're not getting to this deeper essence because I think everything flows from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you can become in tune with your intuition and really trust yourself, not like ration or facts or critical thinking that we're taught, but to actually look deep inside of yourself and to run with that's where your true authentic self comes from. And that's what's going to lead your personal growth journey.
Right. And I like that you also agree with me that you're also using this term that we have this ability. Like, some people say spiritual gifts, but I like to reframe it. It's like, no, we all have this ability. It's just a matter of like, how do we develop it and practice it? And because we're
Yeah, absolutely. Just if you wanted to play basketball or you wanted to play the drums, you need to take lessons and you can develop it as long as you have an interest in it and as long as you have that open mind. Yeah, anyone can develop this, even people who are like, I don't have any kind of ability. But yeah, we're all born with our sixth sense. We all have our five physical senses, but then we also have our sixth sense, which is our intuition, which is actually your psychic sense. They're all the same word. We're just using different terms to say that same thing. But yeah, we're all born with that.
Yeah, I would say that the intuition is you. Yeah, so now this has become your mission, your purpose is to help people develop their psychic abilities. How do you begin this journey with somebody that's uncertain that they can really do this?
Yeah, and that's usually where my students are. They usually are like, I know I have something, but I don't know how to develop it. They usually have been trying classes for years. They were literally in my same exact shoes. But just like if you were to go to the gym, if you go to the gym for 3 hours, it's not going to develop your psychic abilities, just like your body's not going to change in 3 hours at the gym, right? But over 90 days at the gym, you might start to see some difference. So that's why I offer this 90-day mentorship program. So I do take them through basically everything that they need to know, like basic level of how to protect their energy, how to go through that shadow work so that they do feel lighter. I teach them everything about connecting with their spirit guides, learning the chakra energy field, literally just everything you would need to know to get started. And I'm right there with them. They have access to me on their phones Monday through Friday. If they have any questions, we have bi-weekly Q&A calls over Zoom to ask questions. I can give them feedback, to do exercises together. But yeah, all the exercises are on video so that they can pause them, play them, rewind them. And it only takes about 10 to 30 minutes a day. It's not this huge time commitment. It's like I was saying, if you hadn't gone to the gym in 10 years, you don't want to go for 3 hours because now all of a sudden you're going to be really tired and depleted of your energy. And it's the same concept. So you just want to do a little bit each day that will actually, in time, now transform you into a psychic, which is what I love to see so much.
I'm curious, have you seen anybody go through your program trying to develop their abilities, but they got something else instead, like a profound healing, a profound shift?
I think everyone has. So it's a very emotional process, especially at the beginning while they're going through that shadow work. They are finding a lot of things out about themselves, and it's a lot of releasing self forgiveness, self acceptance, self love. So they start to view things differently, which definitely helps them on their journey of healing. And yeah, I think everybody has that, including myself.
Yeah, 'cause that's what I find most interesting. They think, oh, I want to become a medium. I want to talk to the other side. But then they're getting this other benefit, like, oh, I'm knowing who I am. And now my body is getting lighter. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling healthier. And there was no intent to heal. It was simply this other path that led them this way.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times, my students will also say the people in your household are actually feeling it too, because now if you have a mom that's maybe lighter and maybe she's seeing things differently, or she's having her kids play the meditation music with her, it's basically changing your relationships as well to make them heal and to have them grow as well.
Right. It just reminds me when you're talking about if you're doing these practices, it does ripple out because there's no energy silos or it is expanding and touching those other people. And I like to say that this energy that we're tapping into, the energy of love, is transformative.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. If people can realize that, to realize how we're all interconnected, to realize how it does have that ripple effect, it's an amazing place to be. I would never want to go back to not realizing that. It is a big shift in reality, but it's an amazing, beautiful one.
Right. That's the thing that once you're shifting, once that door is open, it never fully closes. But once you have that taste of who you are, it's always there. You can't close the door.
Yes. And it just grows and grows. Like I'm still learning stuff every day. And I have clients that have these unique abilities that like I don't even have, but just by doing the steps in my program, it's opening it for them. And then I can help them customize the program. So I will give them more exercises of whatever their unique ability is because we all have a little bit of different kind of ability, which is like so amazing.
We all have these abilities. It's just a matter of, is it our interest or maybe it's part of our soul purpose to develop specific abilities?
Yeah. So I thought because I'm a medium that everyone in my program would find out they're a medium. I have angelic healers. I have telepaths. I have people who are psychic detectives now and animal communicators. It's just like amazing how just by doing these like baseline steps, they're finding out who they are. And the biggest thing though is how they can help other people. So that's always the biggest thing is they don't really get into this field unless they feel like I have this ability for a reason and I want to help other people with it. But if I can create an army of other people that can do readings like that, I feel like is the bigger ripple effect and I'll have that profound impact on the world.
Yeah, I think that they're probably where you were when you were younger. You know, there's something's going on, but you're not quite sure. So, what it's feeling to me is that you're helping people discover their soul purpose and then aligning their abilities with their purpose.
Yes. And I always think, little me, I can do that. But I feel like that's anyone, right? As long as you have that motivation and that's something that you want to do, there's really nothing that can hold anyone back. And that brings that ripple effect. But yeah, I always feel like little old me and the students say that too. I can do this. And yes, anyone can, as long as you have that interest and you put the time in.
Yeah, that's really an important phrase. I want people to really catch on to that. The little old me voice that we're not good enough, we're not worthy, I don't have these skills. And the mind just filled with all this nonsense that I call us, where we start settling for life. If you're feeling that there's something else going on, then maybe you're not supposed to sit in the corporate cubicle for your whole life. Explore that curiosity some more.
Yeah, and whenever your intuition or your inner guidance is closed down because you are listening to society or you are listening to rationality and facts, you might actually be pushing down a passion that you have that you don't even realize. Once you open that up and allow yourself to open it, you might find out you have a passion for something that you never even knew because you never gave yourself the chance to actually explore it. So that's huge as well.
Yeah, the opportunity to explore it, be curious to say, like, I know that I feel like I'm here for a deeper purpose. What is this? And start to explore. And hopefully they're listening to this podcast and listening to you, getting some ideas like, yeah, there's something with me. Do you offer free calls? Like, how does this work with you?
I do offer 30-minute free calls. Even if you choose another mentor or you don't think I'll be your mentor, I would still love for you if you don't have a like minded individual to get on a call with me because a lot of us don't have someone in our community or in our family that we can talk to about these things. So if I can just be there for someone to say, hey, you're not crazy. I've been there. I've had that experience. Give them some feedback just so they don't feel so alone. I would love to just jump on a call with them. I do offer the free 30-minute call. And I also offer a free psychic development course on my website, brandyvan.com. But again, like I can't, you're not going to be psychic after that psychic development class, but at least it gives you a little taste of what developing psychic abilities is all about. And also a little taste of what it's like to work with me also.
So what I was thinking about when you're going through your journey, what did your family think when you shifted into this? Were you feeling pressure from them?
So what's interesting is that when I had the experience with my grandma, it took me years to tell anyone in my family because they're grieving and you don't know what other people's belief systems are or if they'll believe me. And then when I did, my mom's side of the family, apparently everyone is psychic. Like my mom, my aunts, my cousin, my uncle, and nobody was surprised that I had this ability, which makes me want to be like a spokesperson for this because I would have said something when I was 10 or 12. Maybe I wouldn't have had all of that feelings of alone and confusion. So if more people would just talk about this, there could be a lot more people coming out of their spiritual closet, as I call it. And they could actually talk about it. And that's how we can really make a difference in the world and change the vibration and the frequency of the earth.
Right, because there's more openness now. When we were talking like 10, 20 years ago, it was a spiritual closet. You really didn't talk about these things.
Yeah, now is the time, right? So it's no better time than now. You can open it today or you could wait another 10 years. You could be on that journey of growth and self-development. In those 10 years, I always say live for today. I definitely recommend anyone to get on their journey as soon as possible. It's only going to help you.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you're living your purpose. I just see how you light up that it excites you. Let's lift you up.
Yes, absolutely. If you would have told me 20 years ago I was doing this, I would have been like, no way. But once you are there, it's a great place to be. So, yeah, I would love to lead whoever wants to be on that journey.
Yeah, it's also interesting you're talking about that. I could be giving readings all day, but there's a greater purpose for you. You're not just meant to be a reader. Some people are, but I'm here to be a mentor, to be a leader, to usher in a new wave.
Yes, absolutely. Because I know people are like afraid to talk about it. They don't have anyone. They've been trying these classes that overpromise and underdeliver, and they're spending all of their money. So it's just, I would love to be that person. Like I said, even if I'm not, like, just find a mentor because just like with anything, if you're going to take piano, you usually have a teacher, right? Or you're going to have a coach if you play a sport. It's that same concept of why do it on your own if someone can take you under their wing and make it that much easier for you?
Could be easier, but it could be quicker as well. They might be doing where you were reading this, studying this, but they're not putting all the pieces together and
Yeah.
how it could benefit them.
Absolutely. Yeah, it can definitely accelerate the process. And not only that, I felt like when I was doing it on my own, I didn't feel safe or secure about it. But when I had my mentor and she could teach me a safe, structured way on how to do it, I just felt a lot less fear. I just felt a lot more like safe and secure about it.
That's also where a mentor can support you. If you get into these areas, it is scary to the mind because the mind doesn't know where it's venturing. The mind's always trying to keep you safe, protect it. So you need to satisfy that part of the mind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the left and the right side of the brain. We've been taught our whole lives to listen to our ego, to listen to all of the facts and the critical thinking. And now all of a sudden you're shifting it to your intuition, to your inner guidance. And it does become that battle, but there is self-trust. But that seems to be everyone's biggest issue, and it was mine as well. Trusting in yourself, trusting in the messages that you receive from spirit. So it does take a lot of practice to be able to get to that point. But once you're there and you can just let go and trust, it's a whole other beautiful place.
Right. There's a few things that I think are worth talking about that we only really need to get into the battle if we don't know who we really are, so we can start to discount that voice that isn't supportive of us in our journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the ego is always going to want you to stay safe, not take any risk, not go out of your comfort zone. If you're like, for example, in a job that you don't like and you're afraid to go for the job that you do, that's your ego keeping you safe. But if you go down your intuitive route and they're like, do it, try it out, and then it could totally change your life. Yeah, it's definitely a battle if you allow yourself to listen to your intuition.
So just allow it yourself. But that's the big part that you need to develop is listen to your intuition, but you need to trust yourself.
Oh, it's so true. We have all these limiting beliefs of society knows best or science knows best. And I'm not saying that they don't, but there is another side. So you just need to let yourself open up to that.
Right. And I like to say, the outside world is external, quote unquote, facts. But what is your internal truth? Because the
Yeah,
way I flip it, because I heard these thousands upon thousands of stories that multiple sclerosis is incurable. Well, I'm living proof it's curable.
mm, that's incredible. There could be so many energy blockages that can cause pain, that can cause physical ailments. So yeah, it's amazing what mind over matter can do, really.
Well, it's really that true self, our essence, can do all things because the energy within us is the energy that created the universe.
Absolutely, our higher consciousness, our higher self. And when you can start living from that, it's just a whole new ballgame.
Yeah, that was my path to healing, was just trusting and listening to that deeper voice. It's not supposed to, because it's your path. It's unique to you.
It's always the best, right? So it's good to listen to it.
So you help people really just dive into what's best for you.
Yeah, absolutely. To get them to listen to themselves, even whenever that little part of your brain is saying, there's no way you know this. There's no way that this is real. You just got to quiet that down. You still need it, but it's going to keep you safe and secure. But I always say to treat it like a good friend that's giving you bad advice today. Like you don't want to keep your friend there, but maybe you're not going to listen to them on this subject.
Right. Getting back to where we're talking about earlier was they might be like, oh, I want to develop this mediumship ability or whatever it may be. And they could be dealing with an illness as well, but they're not focused on that. They're focused on this ability. Then through this ability and trusting themselves, they get the recipe, they get the way to take care of the ailment.
Yeah, it's really incredible. I actually had one client who had long COVID. And because of that, she was bedridden and her physical body was very tired in bed. But then her psychic abilities were just so strong because her physical body was taking a break. And so now her mind was ready to take on all of these things. And I find that's the same with anyone with a disability, that their body just isn't working for them. Their mind is then that much stronger.
Yeah, sometimes a strong mind is a resistant mind.
Yes, you still have to be able to allow it and give it permission to shine through, go on that journey. But if you do, it's amazing what your mind can do.
Right. And finding those practices that work for you. Like, oh, they need more of this or more of this.
Yeah.
Is that what you're finding?
Yes, absolutely. Someone has clear hearing and somebody else has clear vision. I'm not going to give the clear vision person the clear hearing exercises. So that's why I'm working with them and customizing it along the way so that they can really figure out what is my ability, so that they're saying, I'm really good at this type of exercise. I give them a lot more of those. Or vice versa, if an exercise isn't working, I'll tell them, maybe try it this way. Everyone's a little bit different on how they might need to do the exercise.
What is that path for you?
That path for me is to just watch all the transformation of the client. I knew I would love teaching, right? But watching people come, they don't trust themselves, they're second guessing. And then by the end of the program, they are talking with spirit. They're able to get these messages of love and healing and comfort. It's just amazing. And I just feel like if I can do this all day, every day, like my life is complete.
So do you just strictly teach today, or do you still do readings?
I still do readings. I have never actually marketed my readings. It's always been word of mouth. And like in December and January, I think because the holidays, a lot of people are missing their loved ones. So I had like readings every single day at the beginning of the year and the end of last year. But yeah, I don't really market them. It's just more word of mouth. But yeah, I do mediumship readings. I also do spirit guide readings, which is if you wanted to talk to your spirit guide, I can get the messages for you. And then I also do animal communication readings, which is so fun because a high energy and they're so much fun to talk to.
Yeah, so the animal communication is interesting. How did the animal communication come about? Was that something you also studied with your mentor, or is it something that just you developed on your own afterwards?
So I do have the exercise in the program for them to try it out. But I actually just found out maybe within the last 6 months that I can do animal communications. I decided to take this membership that you just pay by the month, and this woman teaches you. Nikki Vasconez, her name is. She's great. And I signed up for the month, and within 1 week I was talking to animals. I had no idea I could talk to animals. So that's like what I mean by it keeps growing. And then you don't try out these things, you'll never know. And I love doing the animal readings. So it's amazing that I had no idea. And then I just picked it up like that. So it was great.
Yeah, so you're still in for a wild, conscious adventure. The more abilities that will come, but you never know because I saw this discarded couch on the side of the road, and I just simply said telepathically, "Oh, I'm sorry to see that you were thrown out," and I responded, "It's okay. I serve my mission."
Amazing. Yeah. And it's great because whenever you can open those lines of consciousness, it just shows you that our loved ones are still with us, just in a different way. We can communicate with beings that we're not usually able to communicate with. As long as you have that open mind, there's so much more out there than what you can actually see. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, I love people to recommend it. So go find a tree and go lean against that for a few minutes, and you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah, nature is a great grounding technique. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's just really wild, this world that opens up when we start tapping in and opening up these lines of communication. When you're in that space, you really don't need to figure anything out. It just sort of comes to you.
Yeah, because you're in that complete just allowance of allowing things to happen, giving it permission. And it really does open your eyes to the bigger picture. So you start to see things in a different way, which is great.
How would you describe the bigger picture of life?
So that bigger picture is like how I said before, little old me is creating these light workers to go on and do readings for people to help other people. And I think that's really why we're here, right? Is to give compassion and love and acceptance and to have that ripple effect of helping each other. Everyone struggles. We all, as humans, have struggles and challenges. And if we can help someone with that struggle and their challenge, I feel like that's everyone's purpose here. Or we can all help each other, and that's going to make that ripple effect.
Right, that's so true that every human is going to face a challenge, a trauma, some kind of suffering, because that's part of our journey.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a little bit harder, right? Because when you're going through something that's really hard, it's harder to look at that bigger picture. But when you do go on this journey of spirituality, you start to think of things in a different way of what is this trying to teach me? How is this going to make me stronger in the future? What did I go through in my past that's making me be able to go through this a little bit easier than it might not have been if I didn't go through that?
yeah, and I also like to remind people if you're feeling good right now and everything's working out, develop a spiritual practice. You're going to need it sometime in your life because when you're in the midst of a crisis, it's going to be harder to pull yourself out. But if you have the spiritual toolkit that you're starting to develop, it will be a smoother transition.
Yes, 100%. It's once you just have it and it's something that you practice like every day, even if it's just like 5 or 10 minutes a day, it makes it so much easier. Because let's say you don't practice your spiritual practices, right? And let's say you like maybe in 3 months you do it for 5 minutes, and then in another couple weeks you do it for another 10 minutes. But it's literally just like playing an instrument. Play even 5 minutes a day to keep that practice up, and then it's gonna be so much easier when you need it versus it's going to be a lot harder if you do it sporadically. So yeah, even just 5 minutes a day And we deserve that 5 minutes a day. Life is busy. So if you can give yourself 5 minutes to just look inward to make sure that you're happy with everything, or how can I change things to make me happier? I think we all deserve that anyway.
Yeah, I love the simplicity. My practice is also simple. Just 10 minutes a day of meditation. This is enough because I can sit for hours upon hours, but I'm here for the human experience to enjoy this while I'm in body.
Some people might not have that spiritual journey yet because maybe they need that traumatic experience or they need that struggle to start on their spiritual journey, because I feel like spirit really determines when we're going to go down that path. So maybe they didn't think you were ready for it yet and they're opening your eyes. But usually at some point, if it didn't start at the beginning of your life, there'll be some point in your life that there is this change, and you're ready for it. So that could come from a trauma or a struggle that then starts your.
Yeah, that's so important to just to have this podcast available for can just say, okay, what's going on with my life? How can I change a direction? So hopefully I can listen to one of my episodes and find that one person that's going to lead them to their path. And I think you're really going to help a lot of younger people that are just starting to like, hey, there's something else going on here. If people had questions for you, how could they reach out?
Yeah, so my website's the best way. It's just brandyvan.com. They can set up the 30-minute call on there. They can get the free class. And they can, I actually have a blog post that give a lot of free resources and tools to just open your mind, to find out what psychic experiences are, and make sure that, if you think you're like, I've never had a psychic experience. I have quizzes on there, tests to show you that, you might just not know what they are. Yeah, they can look at my blog posts and the information about my mentorship program and my readings. All that's right on the website.
So I really enjoyed having you in the conversation and learning your journey and how you're really stepping into your purpose. I see you're all lit up. So thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.